What if you could kill anyone just by writing their name in a notebook? That's exactly what happened to Light, a brilliant law student who discovered the Death Note. But what started as a way to punish criminals soon turned him into something much darker. So yeah, let's get into it. The movie opens in a city in Japan. We then see a group of police officers chasing a criminal through the streets. However, the criminal grabs a woman, points a gun at her, and warns the police, "Don't come any closer. If you do, I'll kill her." But then, all of a sudden, something completely unexpected happens. The criminal suffers a heart attack and collapses to the ground, dying on the spot. After that, many other criminals like him also begin dying from heart attacks. Even criminals inside prisons start dying from heart attacks. They all die of heart attacks without any history of illness. Before long, this becomes a major topic of discussion in the news and newspapers. Some people believe that these strange deaths are God's work. At the same time, many others believe that a human is behind all of this, and they begin referring to that person as Kira. People have mixed opinions about Kira. While some support him, others strongly oppose him. However, since all the people being killed are criminals, the number of people supporting Kira is much higher. Kira becomes the main topic of discussion in both the news and among the public, but unknown to everyone, Kira is actually standing among them. His real name is Light, and he is also watching the news along with everyone else. Just then, the news reports, the suspect who broke into a consumer finance company in Tokyo has been identified. 3 employees have been killed, and 5 hostages remain. Hearing this, Light takes out a notebook from his bag and writes the suspect's name in it. A few moments later, another breaking news report comes in. The suspect has died. As soon as people hear this, they start saying, "It's Kira. He did it." However, none of them realize that the person standing right next to them is actually Kira. The notebook that Light took out earlier is called the Death Note. If you write someone's name in it while thinking about that person, they will die. You can even write how they should die. If you do, they will die exactly that way. Otherwise, they will die of a heart attack. In fact, Light is the one behind all the mysterious deaths that have happened so far. Light is a brilliant law student. He has a girlfriend named Shirori. However, even she doesn't know that Light is Kira. According to Shirori, all criminals should be punished by the law. But Light replies, "The law has its limits." He then tells her, "Last month, I hacked into the police agency's database. I needed to find out whether the criminals were receiving adequate punishment." But what he discovered shocked him. Many criminals had not received the punishment they deserved. Many suspects escaped due to a lack of evidence. Many criminals were never captured for some reason. Their secret data showed that they had escaped punishment. After this, the events from a month ago are shown. To find out whether the information in the database was actually true, Light goes to a nightclub where one of the criminals mentioned in the database hangs out. There, he overhears the criminal and his friends talking. One of them asks him, "You got away with murder. Is that fair?" The criminal then replies, "Did you hear it? The cry of the parents whose kid I killed when they heard the verdict." After saying that, they all burst into laughter. At that moment, one of them notices that Light is watching them and confronts him. The criminal also threatens Light by pulling out a knife before leaving the bar. Light immediately walks outside. He is filled with disappointment and frustration. He takes a law book out of his bag and throws it away. What's the point of the law if it can't deliver justice? As he walks away after throwing the book, he notices another notebook lying on the road. Even though it is raining heavily at that moment, there isn't a single drop of water on the notebook or even around it. Light takes the book called Death Note home and opens it. Inside, he finds a set of rules written in it. Whoever's name is written on this notebook will die. This note will not take effect unless the writer has the person's face in mind when writing his or her name. Therefore, people who share the same name will not be affected. If the cause of death is written within 40 seconds of writing the person's name, it will happen. But if no cause of death is specified, the person will simply die of a heart attack. But after reading all this, Light just laughs. At that moment, the news reports the murder of a high school girl and also shows the murderer on TV. After seeing this, Light pictures the murderer's face in his mind and writes his name in the death note. He then closes the book, sets it aside, and goes to bed. The very next day, Light picks up the newspaper and sees that the murderer who appeared on the news the previous day has died of a heart attack. Shocked by this, Light goes to his room and looks at the death note again. Even then, he doesn't completely believe that the notebook is real. Maybe it was just a coincidence. That night, Light sees the criminal and his friends he had met earlier at the nightclub again. As soon as they see him, they start laughing at him. Light quickly takes out the death note and writes the criminal's name in it. A few moments after writing the name, the criminal suffers a heart attack and dies right in front of Light. Light is left standing there in complete shock after witnessing this unbelievable incident. At that moment, he realizes that everything written in the death note is true. As he hurriedly walks back home, he comes face to face with the true owner of the death note. It is a god of death, known in Japanese as a Shinigami. Its appearance is terrifying, and even Light is frightened by the sight of it. Its name is Ryuk. Ryuk says, "I dropped the notebook." Hearing this, Light asks, "Are you taking it away from me?" Ryuk replies, "Finders keepers. It's all yours." But Light asks, "Do I have to give you my life in return?" Hearing this, Ryuk bursts into laughter and says, "Don't worry. If you don't want it, pass it on to someone else. In that case, I will erase your memory of the death note. You may experience agony and fear that only the user will come to know." Well, that might not concern you. The fear that Light had when he first saw Ryuk is now completely gone. He tries to touch Ryuk, but he can't. Ryuk tells him, "Only the people who touch the death note can see me." So, Light is still the owner of the death note. After this, the movie jumps ahead by 4 months. As people continue to die one after another, the police are under tremendous pressure. So far, they haven't found a single clue. The investigation team tells their chief, "The victims are criminals and are scattered all over the world. We see no connection whatsoever." "Chief, this may be caused by some unknown virus after all." But the chief says, "I am convinced that this is a massacre. I will not tolerate it. The way he carries out his crimes, we must get the bastard." Now, the chief happens to be the father of the bastard he just referred to. In other words, the chief is Light's father. After that, Light's father goes to meet the deputy chief. The deputy chief tells him, "The culprit is in Japan." Then another officer says, "The first death occurred in Japan, so the culprit must be here." That's what L says. Now, L is a brilliant detective. He has solved many unsolved cases from around the world. At this point, he is their last hope for solving this case. This man's name is Wadari. He is the only person through whom they can contact L. L has never revealed his true identity. No one has ever seen his face, and all of his communication is done through the internet. L tells Light's father, "The unexplainable deaths that have occurred around the world are most likely caused by a single person. For now, I will call the culprit Kira." Light's father then asks, "How do you explain all these killings happening at the same time?" But L replies, "I will study him further and show you how he carries out his plans." That's all for now. Goodbye. With that, the call ends. After this, the deputy chief appoints Light's father as the leader of the investigation team. Meanwhile, Light and Ryuk have become quite good companions. Light says to Ryuk, "Look, Ryuk, they are all talking about him on the internet. Kira, that's me. The death note will help create a crime-free world. The future is in my hands." At that moment, a flash news report appears on TV. It shows that the detective L has revealed his face and even his name. L says, "My name is Lyndell Taylor, known as L. I have been asked by the International Criminal Police Organization to help find the serial killer, the mastermind behind this, known as Kira. He has an extraordinary ego and is a vile and immature criminal. I, L, assure you that Kira will be arrested at all costs. Kira, I can easily read your moves because of your immaturity. You are not allowed to exist in this world. You are far worse than the criminals you have eliminated." As soon as he hears this, Light takes out the death note and says, "It's a pity I can't play games with you anymore." He then writes L's name in the notebook. A few moments later, the man on the live broadcast suffers a heart attack and dies on live TV. However, completely ruining all of Light's calculations, the real L's voice is suddenly heard through the TV. L says, "Impressive, Kira. So, you can kill people without lifting a finger. Hear this, Kira. The man you have just killed was a convict on death row. We made him appear as me. The real L is still alive. Kill me if you dare. You can't, can you? And Kira, I now know that you're somewhere in the Tokyo area because this broadcast was shown only in Tokyo. The police are right behind you. Your penalty is death. I am justice." Hearing this, Light becomes furious. He says, No, I am justice, the savior of the weak and the god of the new world. Those who oppose me are evil. From this point on, after gaining the power to control death, Light's personality slowly begins to change. Ryuk says to him, "You kill in the name of justice. I've got to see who wins." After this, all the news is about L versus Kira. Just like Kira, L also starts becoming famous. At the same time, the police and L are making every effort to find Kira. They also discover something new about him. Kira always carries out the killings after college hours. From this, the police and L conclude that Kira is a college student. As a result, all college students come under suspicion. Meanwhile, Light hacks into the police database and checks the investigation reports. From those reports, he realizes that the police have figured out that Kira is a college student. Realizing this, Light changes his strategy. He starts killing people even during college hours. As a result, the number of criminals dying each day also increases. One person dies every hour. Seeing this, the investigation team also begins to doubt whether Kira is really a student. At that moment, L tells them he can control the time of death. And one more thing, our information has been leaking out to Kira. It was 3 days ago that we discovered he was a student. From the very next day, the times of death became irregular, which means Kira is telling the police that he is among us. With that, everyone in the police agency, along with their children, comes under suspicion. There was also an officer following Light to keep him under constant surveillance. Light soon realizes that he is being followed. He asks Ryuk, "I am being followed. Since when?" Ryuk replies, "The day before yesterday." Light asks, "Why didn't you tell me?" Ryuk replies, "I'm not on your side, nor else. Is it the police?" Then Light says, "No, they can't be onto me yet." That night, Ryuk tells Light, "We, gods of death, survive on the years of human lives. People who die because of the death note leave behind the years they had left to live." Ryuk can also see people's names and how many years they have left to live. Hearing this, Light quickly asks, "You can see the years I have left too." Ryuk replies, "Don't you want to see like me?" Light asks, "I might. What do I have to give in return?" Ryuk replies, "Half the years of your life." Hearing that, all of Light's excitement disappears. Ryuk then asks, "Then how are you going to find out the name of the person who's following you?" That's when Light remembers something. The death note allows him to write not only a person's name, but also the way they will die. To test this, the next day, he kills 3 more criminals. One of them cuts off his finger and draws a large star on the wall. The second criminal leaves behind a suicide note. The third criminal escapes from his cell and runs into the lavatory, where he dies of a heart attack. But after learning about all this, L says, "Tell the press that it was nothing more than a heart attack." It seems like Kira is trying to test something with these deaths. Following L's instructions, the police report it to the media exactly that way. Even though the news reported that all 3 had died of heart attacks, Light had already hacked into the police database and knew how each of them had actually died. Light says, "See, the killings were carried out just as I'd written." Just then, a news report catches Light's attention. 3 people have robbed a bank and killed 3 employees during the robbery. 2 of the robbers have been arrested, but one of them has managed to escape. Seeing this, Light comes up with an idea. He turns to Ryuk and asks, "People who touch the death note can see you, right?" Then, with a smile on his face, he takes out the death note and starts writing something in it. The next day, Light and Shirori get on a bus. Seeing this, the man who has been following Light also gets on the same bus. He sits in the seat right behind Light. As soon as he sits down, Light asks him, "Why are you following me? Are you someone from the inquiry agency?" The man replies, "I don't know what you're talking about." Just then, the bank robber who escaped in the news the previous day gets on the bus. After getting on, he points a gun at the driver's head and threatens him. "If you want to leave, do as I say." At the same time, Light takes out a small piece of paper and writes something on it. He writes, "I will find a chance and grab him." Seeing this, the man sitting behind him says, "Don't. It's too risky. You must leave it to me." Hearing this, Light asks, "How could I trust you? How will I know that you're not an accomplice?" The man then shows Light his ID card. He is actually an FBI agent. Light sees his name on the ID card. His name is Rei Iwamatsu. After that, Light intentionally drops the piece of paper from his hand onto the floor. Seeing this, the bank robber gets angry and asks, "What are you up to?" He walks over to Light and picks up the piece of paper. The moment he does, he sees Ryuk standing right in front of him. The piece of paper he picked up was actually torn from the death note. Terrified after seeing Ryuk, the robber asks, "What the hell are you? Where did you come from?" He then starts shooting at Ryuk, but nothing happens to him. Frightened, the robber rushes out of the bus. Just then, a car hits him and he dies on the spot. In reality, Light is the one behind all of this. Everything happened exactly the way he had written in the death note. After learning the bank robber's name from the news, Light wrote in the death note that the robber would board that particular bus at that particular time. He carries a gun with 8 bullets and tries to rob the bus. But he sees a horrifying phantom and starts firing at it. With no bullets left, he rushes out of the bus and is hit by a vehicle, dying instantly. Light had written all of this in the death note. The reason he did all this was because he wanted to find out the FBI agent's name. And now he finally knows it. As for the FBI agent, he is soon going to marry his fiancée. Her name is Naomi. Meanwhile, Light says to Ryuk, "There can't be only one FBI agent." Suspecting that Kira was someone within the authorities, L must have secretly assigned the FBI to follow me. That would mean he's not the only agent in Japan. If I kill him, I'll become a suspect. But what if all the FBI agents working on this case were to die? Hearing this, Ryuk says, "Hey Light, the FBI aren't criminals." But Light doesn't pay any attention to that. After this, the FBI agent who had been following Light boards a train. There, he finds an envelope. Written on it are the words, "I am Kira. Use the transceiver inside. I will talk to you directly." Light then tells the FBI agent that he is Kira. He also kills the man sitting right next to the agent. Only then does the agent realize that he is actually talking to Kira. Light threatens the FBI agent and makes him write the names of the other FBI agents working on the case on a piece of the death note. The death note has another rule. Even if you do not actually possess the death note, the effect will be the same if you can recognize the person and his or her name to place in the blank. Light then tells the FBI agent to put the paper back into the envelope and leave it exactly where he found it. The agent does exactly as he is told and gets off the train. The moment he gets off, he suffers a heart attack and dies. In other words, everything that just happened had already been written in the death note by Light. After this, all the remaining FBI agents also die of heart attacks. If Light had killed only the FBI agent who was following him, he would have become a suspect. That's why he killed every FBI agent involved in the investigation. In the next scene, the deputy chief is discussing the murdered FBI agents with Light's father. He says, "They all died of heart attacks. Their leader in Washington is said to have died at the same hour. These FBI agents were instructed by L to secretly investigate the case. Now that Kira has started killing not only criminals, but also the FBI agents investigating him, most of the police officers become afraid for their own lives and withdraw from the investigation." After this, Light's father tells L that if they are to continue the investigation, they need to meet him in person. L agrees. Watari then brings the investigation team to the hotel where L is staying. There, they finally meet L. From the expressions on their faces, it's obvious that he is not the person they were expecting. They had probably expected someone older and more mature. Instead, L looks just like a college student. As soon as they meet him, the members of the investigation team introduce themselves. L tells them, "If I were Kira, you'd be dead by now." Light's father asks, "What do you mean?" L replies, "From what we know so far, Kira needs the names and faces of his targets in order to kill them. From now on, do not give out your real names. As for myself, call me Ryuzaki." Kira can also manipulate a person's actions before death. The suicide notes written in jail were probably Kira's experiment. He tested them to see how accurately he could control people before killing them. The FBI agents died 8 days after this experiment. During that time, he somehow obtained the names from one particular agent. Light's father asks, "So, Kira is someone within the authorities, someone who was being followed by the FBI before the experiment?" L replies, "Exactly. That in other words, it has now become a little easier for them to identify Kira." Meanwhile, the murdered FBI agent's fiancée, Naomi, is trying to find Kira. She is also an FBI agent. Moreover, she suspects that Light might be Kira. This is because the FBI agent was killed just a few days after the bus incident, and Light was also on that bus. She collects the details of the bus incident and goes to meet the bus driver. She then shows him a photo of the FBI agent. Seeing the photo, the driver says, "He was sitting at the back. I remember. He was arguing with a young man when the robber got on the bus." Naomi asks, "What did this young man look like?" The driver replies, "Handsome and brave too. He didn't seem afraid even when the gun was pointed at him." Naomi then asks, "Was he questioned by the police?" The driver replies, "No. Actually, he disappeared. Maybe he didn't want to get involved either." At the same time, Elle hands the investigation team a list of people who are suspected of being Kira. To everyone's surprise, the list contains Light's family and the deputy chief's family. Seeing this, the investigation team is shocked. Elle says, "We need to install cameras and bugs in both houses." At first, the investigation team refuses, but they eventually agree. Meanwhile, Naomi goes to Light's college to meet him. She tells him, "I'm writing an article about the Kira case. I heard you met Rei Iwamatsu." Rei Iwamatsu is the name of the FBI agent. Naomi continues, "He was killed by Kira while investigating the case, and he suspected that you were Kira." Hearing this, Light asks, "Are you trying to say I killed him?" Naomi replies, "Kira can kill with a name. You used the busjacking to find out Rei's name." Light says, "Did Rei die immediately afterward? If I were Kira, I would have killed him as soon as I learned his name." Naomi replies, "The other agents died too. But if you had killed Rei first, you would have become a suspect. That's why he wasn't killed right away. On the subway, you somehow found out the names of the other agents and killed them all." In reality, Naomi had noticed the FBI agent's strange behavior that day and followed him onto the same train. She was actually an FBI agent working for Elle. Elle also tells the investigation team about this. One of the officers says, "Let's contact her." But Elle replies, "She disappeared after his death." Meanwhile, Light doesn't admit a single thing Naomi says. As he starts to leave, Naomi says to him, "You can't kill me. I gave you a false name. Rei was my fiancé. I will hunt Kira down, and I won't stop until I put him behind bars." Saying that, she walks away. Light had believed that no one would ever figure out he was Kira, but he was wrong. Now, someone has finally started to suspect him. Later that day, when Light returns home and is about to enter his room, he realizes that someone has been inside before him. He always places a small piece of pencil lead between the door and the door frame. Now, it has fallen to the floor and is broken. The people who entered his room were the investigators assigned to install hidden cameras. Elle and Light's father are monitoring Light through the surveillance cameras. Elle says to Light's father, "Light's characteristics, his IQ, and his lifestyle, they all fit the profile." Although Light's father isn't happy about it, he continues to cooperate with Elle. Meanwhile, Ryuk is talking to Light in his room. "Hey, Light, talk to me. No one's watching. Give me an apple. I demand one. Come on." But even after hearing all this, Light doesn't say a single word. He only talks to Ryuk after he leaves the house. Light says, "Elle's onto me completely. Someone's been in my room. There are cameras and bugs hidden everywhere." After that, Light returns to his room and starts studying, pretending that he knows nothing. Elle is watching his every move through the screens. And just like that, 7 days pass. Light is sitting at his study table, studying as usual. There's a large packet of chips beside him, and he keeps taking a chip and eating it while studying. As usual, Elle is keeping a close eye on Light. At that moment, the TV shows the news about a man who has been arrested for kidnapping a 5-year-old girl. His name and face are shown on the news. As soon as Elle hears this, all his attention turns to Light. But Light continues studying without showing any reaction. In fact, Light doesn't even seem to be watching the news. Then, moments later, another news report comes on. The same man has died of a heart attack. Elle is shocked. Light is still sitting in his room, studying, and he didn't even seem to see the news. Yet somehow, the man has died. At this point, they realize that Light can't be Kira. But what they don't know is what actually happened. Hidden inside the packet of chips on Light's table is a tiny portable TV, which Light has been using to watch the news without being noticed. And inside the chips packet, he has also hidden a piece of the death note. As soon as he sees the man's name on the news, Light writes it on the piece of paper. That's how he manages to kill the man. Once they realize that Light isn't Kira, the investigation team secretly removes all the cameras and bugs from his room without letting him know. Now, Elle and the rest of the investigation team are worried about how they are going to find Kira. At this point, Naomi calls Elle. She tells him, "Elle, as of now, I will prove to you that Light is Kira by risking my life. After this, Naomi goes to a museum and points a gun at Shiori's head. When Light arrives at the museum to meet Shiori, Naomi threatens him. She tells him, "If you want to see her alive, confess right now. Confess that you killed Rei and that you are Kira." Meanwhile, Elle and the investigation team are watching everything through the surveillance screens. Light's father immediately sends a few police officers to the museum. At this point, Light says, "You've got it all wrong. I'm not Kira." No matter how many times Naomi asks, Light refuses to admit that he is Kira. Meanwhile, when Naomi's attention shifts away from Shiori for a moment, Shiori pushes her away and runs toward Light. But Naomi shoots her from behind. After being hit by several bullets, Shiori dies in Light's arms. Unable to bear it, Light breaks down and cries out in grief. Just then, the police officers sent by Light's father arrive at the scene. As soon as Naomi sees them, she shoots herself in the head and dies. But in reality, everything that happened was part of Light's plan. He had already written in the death note that everything would happen this way. Now, how did Light find out Naomi's name? When Naomi came to meet him at college, she had told him that she was that FBI agent's fiancée. Light already knew his name, so he went to the church where they were supposed to get married and found out Naomi's name. He then wrote in the death note. Naomi Mizora arranges to meet with her fiancé's killer and takes his girlfriend hostage at the art gallery. She makes the girlfriend call him and then contacts a third party, the investigation team, and tries to make the killer confess as they watch. At this time, she stops the hostage from running away. But in a moment of madness, she ends up shooting herself. Light did all this to completely remove the investigation team's suspicion of him. To make sure he doesn't get caught, Light is now willing to do whatever it takes. Ryuk tells Light, "You are a devil in disguise." Light replies, "My girlfriend was killed right before my eyes. If I tell them I want to join the team and help capture Kira, everyone will sympathize with me and believe me without a doubt." Ryuk says, "Light, you know what? You are far worse than a god of death. Shiori truly loved you. Didn't you love her at all?" Light replies, "I don't know." After this, Light's father comes to him. Light tells his father, "Father, I have a request. Let me join the team. Shiori was killed because of Kira. So please, put me on the team." But the person who answers him isn't his father. It's none other than Elle. Elle says, "We welcome you. We meet at last. We will capture Kira together." After saying this, Elle takes a chip from a packet of chips in his hand and eats it. Remember the packet of chips where Light had hidden the piece of the death note earlier? Elle is holding a similar packet, which means Elle still strongly suspects Light. And with Elle and Light finally standing face to face, the first part of the movie ends here. And now, the real battle between Light and Elle is about to begin. But the question is, who is going to outsmart whom? We'll find out soon. I'll be back soon with part 2. I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye guys.